All right, everyone. Thanks for joining me. My name is Brian Morrison, software engineer based out of Chicago, Illinois. I've been doing these live streams since the beginning of 2019, working on a bunch of different types of projects. The current project that we're working on tonight is called NVRE. It's a shipment application that I've been more or less building for, I would say, kind of around the same time frame since the beginning of 2019. So we're kind of picking up steam. If you followed me in my last couple of streams where I've been doing this, or last couple of weeks of streams that I've been doing this, we've gotten through the authentication portion where we've cooked into Square's API to import customers into the software. We're going to use that to kind of base off, who we're going to ship to as far as the software goes. I got a couple updates before we kind of jump into it. The first thing is I have a new schedule, so I revised my schedule a little bit. What I got is Sunday and Monday is going to be these streams, NVRE, where I build this application. This is an application I do plan to bring to market. Once I'm completed with it, we're going to deploy it out to AWS. It's going to be hosted on a variety of AWS services, including Lambda, API Gateway, S3. Might throw some EC2 in there. I'm not entirely sure yet. We haven't gotten that far. But I'm also going to be doing my development training stream, which if you followed along last week, it was on Monday. I'm teaching a course on how to build APIs with NodeJS. So a lot of this stuff and principles that I'm applying to this project are also going into a more polished stream where you can follow along. If you've never built anything, if you've never built an API, that kind of gets you started from the ground up. There are a couple prerequisites, but it's pretty one-on-one level type stuff. And then the last thing is my gaming stream, which I pretty much play Destiny 2 and make a fool out of myself. Actually, I'm not terrible, if I do say so myself. That's going to be Sunday and Thursday, and all the times are 8:30 p.m. Central, because that's the time that I basically get to stream. So that's going to be how things are going to be going forward. Might tweak it out a little bit. If you do want updates, this kind of dovetails and transitions into the next thing, is a lot of my social media handles have changed over the last week. I wanted to kind of unify my personal branding, so everything I am pretty much everywhere is B Morrison Dev. BMORRISON Dev, DEV. You can find my page on Facebook there. You can find my Twitter account is now there. My Instagram is now there. I'm going to be posting updates to the channel on Twitter and Instagram. Facebook might come secondary. I'm not entirely sure yet. I'll probably still post some stuff there, but Facebook's a little bit more on the personal end too. And finally, my Twitch stream is now B Morrison Dev. So the old stream is no longer there. So hopefully I didn't shoot myself in the foot by doing that. But I figured before I get too big, I might as well start, kind of making something a little more cohesive. So that is pretty much all the updates I have for you. With that, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my coding screen here, and we can kind of hop right into it. The other thing you will also know, which you don't really see anything yet because no one's hopped on and said anything, is I've changed up the chat a little bit. We had a little bit of an issue last week. My last stream where some people were dropping some bad commentary on the stream, and it showed up on the video. So I still have not had a chance to edit that out. So I added some moderation into there and changed the way it's being displayed on the screen. Hopefully we don't run into that issue again, or at least if we do, hopefully we're prepared for it. So yeah, let's do it. Let's get into it. So what we were working on last time is, let me pull up the page where we were at. Let's see, we had our customers page here. The last thing we did was we added a toolbar in here. I'm not sure why the updates aren't showing there. Files to Square. Yeah, that brings me into my authentication form, which I want. But we're going to go back to customers because I think where we were going with this is the toolbar in here on the left-hand side. We're going to have options to create new customers, edit customers, things along that nature. And then on the right-hand side, we were going to have options here to be able to set up some kind of synchronization with a third-party service. So we're gonna kind of follow that same pattern. I'm gonna figure out what went wrong here and why it's not displaying. Refresh, yeah, because I remember I was wasting a lot of time trying to figure out how to get rid of some of these borders on the outside. I have some code written on the side that I haven't that I have to go back and kind of grab. So, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Let's go ahead and F12 and open up our Chrome Developer Tools and find out if something's breaking. Doesn't look like it is. So where am I working on here? So this is my main customer form. Here's the toolbar, but I'm not seeing my toolbar items here. So I'm actually going to comment out this code here, get rid of the button section on the right, and save that, and we'll see if this recompiles and shows us at least one of our button. I am not getting anything. Why am I not getting anything? Scrolling in, here's our toolbar. Here's our toolbar items, and here's my button, but I'm not seeing anything. Hidden, small, and down. I wonder if it has something to do with sizing. Ah, there we go. So I have some code in here that this guy right here, this class hidden, small, and down. So it hides certain items if the breakpoints on the CSS are at a certain point. So like if I have hidden, small, and down, if it reaches a small breakpoint on the CSS flexbox, it basically hides the item. We're going to get rid of that for the sake of testing. Get rid of on both of these buttons. Comment that. Now let's figure out how we want to lead into this. Where we can, I think what we wanted to do originally is we wanted to create a drop down here. So this way, when a little tweak on my setting up over here. We wanted to create a drop down there, so this way you could drop it down and oh no, actually we were going to link to another page that listed out a list of services that we could synchronize with, right? That's strange. I hear coyotes outside. It's kind of freaking me out. I thought at first one of the kids was crying, and I was like, uh-oh, but no, it's coyotes. So don't let the dogs out. Not tonight. No dogs coming out tonight. Anyway, so import customers is going to lead to another page. Underneath our customers, I'm not going to put this page underneath customers because really this belongs kind of under a settings page. So I'm going to create a new submodule under app. And if you haven't been following along, not modules. What I've kind of come to name some of my isolated components of the code are modules and submodules. So we're going to create our first settings submodule here. We're going to create a new file. I'm going to name this customer, let's see, integration.vue. And we're going to scaffold this. And kind of what I want to do is I'm just going to really do a lot of the design today. So I want to put a inside of a flexbox, I think inside of a vflex, we're going to put a single button with the Square logo that kind of gives the person the option to integrate with Square. I think that's kind of what we're going to do here. So I'm going to reference one of my other components I have here. Let's see, I think vContent is what we're looking for. So we'll do vContent. Close that guy off. Not container, vflex. I think vflex comes next. As I have said before, I don't memorize a lot of this stuff because it's so easy to hop back and forth and memorize vContent and the vContainer. Okay, so I got to put the vContainer in there, and then we'll put the vContainer, and then in here I have a router view because I'm using VueRouter inside of the main to show a bunch of different things, but we're not going to do that here yet. vContainer. And finally vflex. And then I want to put a paragraph. We're just going to put a name in here. This is my customer. Let's try that. Okay, so under our export default, we're going to give this guy a name. And we're going to say a customer integration. And I need to check my other components here and see how I've named some of these things. Let's see, that's app main. Where do I have a sub piece here? Customer Square endpoint. Okay, I don't have the view in there. So in this project, I'm going to stick with the same convention that I've started this off with and not show the view there. Do I need anything else here? Probably not, really. So we're going to add a route into this. We're going to add a route to point to this view, so this way we can actually navigate to it. So let's go into our router.js. And I'm going to close off the login because I don't need that. The onboarding, I don't need that. Square auth, I'm going to leave square auth open so it's going to go away. Oh, come on, why are you doing this? VS Code does this every once in a while where you try and minimize and maximize these things and it just doesn't want to work. I've noticed this specifically in working with PowerShell modules where sometimes that happens. I don't know why, but sometimes expanding and re-minimizing them works. Sometimes it doesn't work at all. So let's see. So under customers, we're actually going to create a route here. The path is going to be settings. We're going to do settings / customer integrations, like so. Name. We will do settings customer integrations, like so. And our component, we're going to import that new component that we just created. The @ sign is an alias to the src folder inside of our project. So modules that let's see, app.settings customer integration .view. Space there to fix the formatting, and that should, oh, hold on one second, I forgot their import here. Okay, so that should set up the route. So if we go back into our customers main, see, here's my square import. We're going to reference some of that. Failed to compile. Modules, app, src, modules, app, settings, customer integration. We named that incorrectly. So let's go back into router and update our name. And for the sake of keeping things consistent, we're also going to update the path and the name of the specific route that we're working with. It's down a little bit because it's a little bit on the higher side. That's a little better. So that is updated. Let's go back into our customer integration. Okay, it did succeed. We want to actually go back into our main, and we want to say router.push. Then we're going to put our path in here. Settings, customer integration. Save that. Now back inside you have new customer, which opens up the form to create a new customer, and then we have this import customers, which should navigate to our option to basically display that view that we just created. So this is my customer integration view. So that's good. That's doing exactly what we want it to. So we're kind of heading in the right direction. Now, the other thing I want to do is I'm going to go into the, I think what I want to use is cards for this particular, or V cards as they call them in VueJS for this particular application. So we're going to go into Vuetify. V-U-E, there we go. Not in VueJS. The V card is something specifically for Vuetify. Vuetify is a material front-end framework that's built for Vue. Kind of makes creating these applications really easy. Now, at some point, I plan to eventually go through and kind of redesign this thing from the ground up with its own personal styling, but for the time being, this is kind of sufficient. So we're going to copy this V card here, and we're just going to put this. Let's see, inside of a flex. I want to see what I can do to bring that container up to the top. So I think it's actually in here. This fluid fill height is what we're looking for. So let's go back into our customer integration, and in our V container, we'll do fluid fill height. And we're going to go ahead and get rid of our, this is my customer view. Go ahead and post this in. This should show exactly that same V card that we saw on the inside of the documentation for Vuetify. I think your sound went off, can't hear you. That's not good. Thanks for the heads up, for one. pop it up a little bit. How's that? Does that sound better? You look 3M? He might not be around. I tweaked my audio settings earlier. Hold on one sec. I'm gonna pop into my Twitch on my phone and I'm gonna see how this thing sounds. There's no point in me doing the stream and talking to everybody if you guys can't actually hear me. Do. Things earlier. Hold on. Advertisements. Well, that thing's loading. I heard myself, so that's good. Well, that thing's loading. I heard myself, so that's good. Okay. It looked 3M. Thanks for the heads up. I don't know if it had something to do with my the way that my tweaking that I just did my audio, but I checked my Twitch and it seems like it sounds okay. So if anyone on Facebook can't hear me or is having a hard time hearing me, let me know. Would appreciate it. Would much appreciate it. Okay, so carrying on. Card text we don't have, so we're just going to put in this is a test. Save that. Take a sip because I'm thirsty. And let's go back in here. And we have one giant card. Now this isn't quite what we want. Really, I don't want the big image here. I don't know why it didn't shoot up to the top like I had expected it to. So, because that's what this fluid fill height I thought did. Let's go back into our main and see what I got going on here. I have logo. I don't have anything in my CSS that seems to want to push that up to the top. V app, V content, V container. So that should be encapsulated inside of there, but it's not. That's my Twitter. That's my desktop. Okay. All right, we're gonna just start. We're just gonna move forward, forge ahead, and not worry about the little details, I guess, because really what we want to do is get the functionality done. I don't want a V image. I'm going to delete the V image. I'm going to delete that and see what this looks like. Okay, so that doesn't show anything. I really don't want this thing that big. I want it to be a little more narrower. So we're going to do XS 6 margin XS would it be 3? Margin of 3 on both sides. I don't even know if I put that in there correctly. So I got the XS 6 right. That's fine. Let's find out what this margin's supposed to be. So back into here under Beautify, we're going to go into the application layout, breakpoints. Nope, not there. This is display spacing. Excuse me. I'm just looking to figure out what the right for the, oh wait, hold on a second. There might be a directive here under UI components for Flex. No, here. Sizing ripples, no. Come on. Come on. Where's our VFlex? Grid? Here we go. All right, so VFlex, let's find margin here. Not with the margin. I know there's something here that can do it. Here we go. Offset, that's what I'm looking for. Offset, not margin, offset. So basically on either side, we're gonna add 3. The grid is 12, I guess, items wide. So if we make the main component, this main VFlex here, XS6, basically saying I want this to take up half the width of the entire container, and then put an offset of 3 on either side, you can kind of center it. And if I go back here, yeah, you can see now it's centered. Now I still would like to get that pushed up to the top. So let's go ahead and look at the Chrome Developer Tools and find out what's going on here. Okay, so that's the container, and that is filling the height, so that's fine. But I have a main container, I have a main class in here, and it's v-content as well. Here's my container as well. Okay, so something's going up here. There's another main being added. I'm guessing that is this v-content in here. So let's just go ahead and eliminate all this and put the flex box right inside of my template tags. That back over there. Refresh this. And it still didn't do what we wanted it to do. So it fills the height, but my flex box is still, why is that in the center like that? Not sure why it's behaving that way. I need to reference one of my other components that I have here and see if we have anything else in here that might V layout. Forgot to add a V layout. One of these days I will memorize this whole structure. There we go. That's what I wanted to. So that's fine. That looks good. I'm going to change this header here to do, say, square. I think is probably good for now. QT Ominated, what is your monthly earnings as a programmer? Well, it depends what you mean by monthly earnings. I do this for a living. I have a salary, which I'm quite honestly not willing to disclose, but I get paid fairly well. Regarding this stuff that I'm doing on the stream, I do completely complimentary for now. However, if you did want to support me, you can always go to patreon.brianmorrison.me or patreon.com/bmorrisondev. And you could always support me there. You'd be the first one. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? But yeah, I get paid pretty well. I can't complain. Me and my family live pretty comfortably. So there's square. I kind of want to do something else there. Let's back this up a little bit. I'm gonna put this as squares again. How did you learn? I am completely self-taught. I started programming probably about 15-ish years ago, somewhere around that range, back in the MySpace days. I decided I wanted to learn how to customize my profile, so I started writing HTML and CSS back in those days. But after that, I one day woke up and said, hey, I want to learn how to build an Android app. And that was probably about 10, 11-ish years ago. So many late nights at Denny's, which I'm not sure where you're from, but in the US, that's kind of a restaurant chain that they're open 24/7 breakfast joint. They had free refills on coffee, and yeah, lots of tutorials on Google's website on how to build Android apps. And a couple months later, I had something published up into the App Store. And then it's kind of just been a steady progress from then, always continuing to try and teach myself new things and learn new things. But thanks for asking. What do you do for a living, if you don't mind me asking? "21 years old, learning how to code." Well, you kind of hopped into the right spot. I've been, like I said, I've been doing this for about 15 years, and I like teaching others. I have another stream. This is kind of, so this stream, as I kind of mentioned in the beginning, is you're following me trying to build an app. It's a rather small app, but nevertheless, it's an app that I plan to build to market. I'm going to be hosting it on AWS. It's going to be helping. It's going to basically simplify the process of being able to ship physical product around the United States, at least to start off with, and it might go beyond that, but I haven't quite decided that yet. My Wednesday stream is in kind of more of an educational, formalized course, learn how to build stuff, and I take you through kind of more polished demonstrations of things. So you might want to check it out. Do me a favor and toss me one of them follows, and you'll get notifications when I'm going live on this stuff. And of course, I game every once in a while too. Got a couple streams where I play Destiny. So, but that's good. 21 years old, learning how to code. That's I think it's a good starting point. I think you're going to be pretty well off if you continue down that path. So good for you. What are you learning in? All right. So what I think, starting with basics, HTML, CSS, it's great. It's a good starting point. PHP is cool. I don't really like PHP. If I'm being entirely honest. I have never been a fan of PHP. I've looked at it. I've tried to toy with it. I build websites in WordPress. My website is built in WordPress, and I know enough PHP to be dangerous, but it never really quite clicked with me. I always recommend for people starting off, and take this with a grain of salt, go whatever route you want to. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you master those three, you can build pretty much anything, because web apps, dynamic web apps, SPAs, PWAs? Yeah, PWAs, they're all built using these JavaScript frameworks. And then you also have other frameworks which will cross-compile JavaScript code into native system code. So say you can build an app in JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and compile it for iOS and Android, and it kind of gives you a unified code base. And being in the industry, having a single code base, or as little, it sounds weird, but having as little code to manage as possible with no more, having as much code as needed with no more is a really valuable thing. So the less code bases you can maintain, the better off you're going to be. Yeah, PHP is one of those things I want to learn, but I've never taken the time to sit down and learn it, because I mean, part of me wants to learn it just for the sake of learning, and the other part of me really just doesn't care. So, but that's cool. I mean, whatever clicks with you and whatever you want to do to try and make a living off of it, I mean, follow that, you know. So appreciate the follow too. I saw that, by the way. I do appreciate it. So I created another folder under settings called Square. I might want to create another folder under here called integrations. Yeah, I think we're going to. So integrations, I created Square integrations. We're going to go ahead and drop customers into that folder. This is going to break everything because I just messed up my route. So let's go. We're going to change this here too. We're going to do settings, integrations, customers, settings, integrations, customers, settings, integrations, customers integration. I can't remember what I named that now. Customer integration .view. Save that. Make sure we can get this thing fixed and running, and it is. So that's good. Change folder structure. Got to go back and fix all the different lookups and references. So walking this thing through, we're going to have different kinds of integrations. Underneath our settings module, we're going to have different kinds of integrations. One of which is going to be the customer integration, and the first one we're targeting is Square. So in my Square auth, did I create a table here? No, this is just a way to get the code. I got to go back and clean that up. Square import, this is what we're looking at. I'm actually just going to, well, you know what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to delete this. Delete our customer import. We're going to move Square import into here. And I figured that would break something. Square import. Where did this fail to build? For those of you, I mean, I have off to the side, I have my terminal because sometimes I have tokens and things go through here, and I don't want that being displayed. But what I'm looking for is, this is the error that it compiled with in source module customers Square import. Source app customer. I just moved that, so why is it complaining? No such file or directory open. Yeah, I know, I just moved it. All right, I kill that and just recompile it from scratch. Let this thing load back up. Move that off to the side. What does the programmer use to code? I'm using Notepad++. Might be funny. I'm guessing that's might be funny for you, but I'm learning from books and the internet. Okay, so it's not funny at all, actually, to me, because again, my first foray into development was the internet, using the Google. Can't remember what exactly they called it. It was in the Android development. It was a site dedicated to Android development, but it was by Google because Google owns Android, right? Or they maintain it. They maintain they maintain Android. So they had a series of web tutorials on how to build just a simple like a note-taking app or a task manager app. That was how I learned. I mean, quite honestly, it was like, hey, start here, and it was like, okay, you have to install this plugin for Eclipse. Okay, what's Eclipse? Now I have to go out and figure out what Eclipse is. Eclipse is an integrated development environment, so I had to download and install that. And now they want me to, open these tools in the SDK. Well, I got to go and figure out what an SDK is because I don't know. So the internet is a great source for information. And the other way that I learned how to learn was using books. Believe it or not, is I'd go to the bookstore, buy books. Well, this was back before kind of ebooks was really a thing too. I'd go and buy the books and bring them to the gym, and I'd read them on, the treadmill or whatever as I was going along. So, yeah, not funny at all. Hey, whatever way clicks for you and gets you to learn this stuff, just use that and run with it. Everybody learns things a little bit differently, so no two people are the same. That's why there are a lot of people that do this kind of live streaming stuff, but I know everyone has a different learning style, and the way that I teach things and the way that I can convey the information might click with one person more than somebody else's information might click. So, and the editor is VS Code. That's kind of, as I've come to see, become the standard. A lot of people use it's Atom, VS Code, and I can't remember the third one for these types of projects. And then if you're working in something like if you're working on iOS apps, it's Xcode because that's all that Apple supports. Or on the Microsoft side, if you're building like Windows applications, that's going to be Visual Studio. So VS Code, highly recommend it though. It's a really great IDE. I'm going to close all these things because I'm not quite sure. It didn't break. I recompiled it and I'm still getting the same error message. But, oh, actually, it did show me a new error message. It's in the router, so. It looks like I have a reference to my particular file that I moved. This guy here, this customer/square. We're going to eliminate this altogether because I don't need that there anymore. All right, and that kind of seemed to get things up and running. Oh. Password, very secure. Password 123. Because security is my middle name. No, it's because I'm running this on my computer and it doesn't matter. You can't hack it anyway. And if you could, I'd be in big trouble. So, okay, so customers, import customers. Broke again. Why did it break again? Let's just refresh this thing. All right, customers, import customers. What is going on here? Keeps redirecting me to log on for some reason. I'm gonna look at look at here under view. I'm gonna look at my view state. I'm gonna see what I got going on here. Is it there? Whoa, this looks different. I did hear that they just pushed out an update for these view tools. Set user, payload object. I'm not showing that thing. I don't see a token in here though. Set token, set user. No, there's a token. There is a token. Why does it keep redirecting me back to login? It's here. I click on customers. Okay, that works fine. I click on import customers. Where did I have this leading to again? Oh, I moved this route. I moved this. That's why it's complaining. All right, going back to customers main, I changed my settings / customer integration to something different. So we're going to go settings, integrations, customers. I think customers is what I had set the route to. Settings, integration, customers. Okay. You know, Q dominated. If you are still around, I'd also recommend hopping on board with, there's a, I guess you can call it a movement, if you will, on Twitter called 100 Days of Code. I'd definitely take a look into that. It's a pretty cool community that I got turned on to earlier this year, where it's just a bunch of developers who are, some are just getting started in code, some have been in the industry for a while, and they're either trying to learn how to develop or trying to help others learn how to develop. Really good way to make some connections and, you know, meet new people and whatnot, and, you know, try and grow with somebody. There are also Discord groups out there, and Slack groups out there you can get involved with, where you can get signed up with a code mentor. I think I'm a mentor on Coding Coach on Slack, and Let's Code on Discord, and I also run my own Discord server, which is Coding Live. So those are a couple other resources you can use to try and kind of accelerate your learning. Why do I lose my track of thought? I'm like not totally with it today. We had my son's 3rd birthday party was today, and it was a busy day. Okay, settings, integrations, customers, all plural. Do I have that right here? Settings, integrations, customers. Okay. Let's go back in here. Import customers. This is the page we expect to get it to, not my login page. So if I click on link, that doesn't do anything. But when I click on link, this is basically where I want to redirect to my Square authentication. So before, what I was doing is going to, let's see, customer Square. I was going to here, on created if this route query. So it looks like this is my callback. I'm trying to kind of reverse engineer what I had done last time, because it's been a week or so since I've looked at that. I had every intention of working on this the last time I was streaming, but I had a really good chat session going on with a bunch of folks, so that kind of took precedence over there. So auth to Square, that calls a method down here, auth to Square. So okay, here is what we want. So Square service authorize with Square looks like the method that I had created for this. So under Square import, no, customer integration, for this link here, I don't want this orange, at click equals auth to Square, and I'm going to create a method down here, and we're going to call this auth to Square. Not async, just a function. And we're going to name that like so, same as we had before. But we have to import our Square service. So import Square service from, again, add as the alias to the src folder, services, Square service. Put a space there for the sake of it looking nice. Nothing broke, which is good. So if I click on link, that redirects me to my login. And now I'm going to go ahead and bounce you guys out of here for a quick second while I get my credential, because I don't like displaying these things on site, or on the stream, rather. Okay, here we go. Again, I don't do nothing that I'm working with is production, but at the same time, when I'm authenticating against external services, I don't like displaying any kind of tokens or anything. So I did get, oh, one sec, transition back. So I did authenticate, but it kicked me back to here, and I'm guessing that's because the callback on Square, I broke that somewhere. So let's go to Square Developer Console. Square developer console dashboard. And we are going to take a look and see what I have set the callback to, because I need to change that. Mini shipper, that is an old one, man. NVRE dev and NVRE tests. I think this is the latest one. OAuth, my callback is localhost square auth, which we did delete, and that's why we're getting redirected back to login. Now, where we do want to go to, I have to change some of these paths a little bit and introduce some nested routes. Path is settings, integrations. We'll do Square customers like so. I think that's what we have set up here. Settings, integration, Square. We'll do customer import. That seems to make more sense. Name. It's going to be the same exact thing as this, but I replace everything with a hyphen. Because, quite frankly, I don't know how to name these. I don't know how to give these things names, but for some reason, in some situations, they are required. I've run up against one or two instances where they needed to have those names there to access a certain piece of functionality. I think it was to grab the query parameters from the URL, which was kind of silly, but you know, whatever. So, and we're going to do Square, and we're going to name this customer import. We're going to rename this view here. So customer import, it's not going to find that, so I know we're going to break this thing. But let's rename this to customer import. That should fix that, which it does. But we're supposed to go here. So if West got to think a little bit of how I want to structure this. So I need to somehow move this functionality into somewhere else. So customer integration lists out where we can integrate with, right? Customer import, get token. So this load Square customers. So that do I have my API set up to automatically save them? No, it shouldn't. Wait, Square service, get customers this token. So this pulls directly from Square with the token that we've received from the API. So it just saves the token. It doesn't actually import the customers on my API side. So we want to let's see. I think I can probably move all of this into here. Yeah, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to copy this out of here. And let's go into customer import. I've got it created. I've got load Square customers. So let's say, what is this thing? Get Square token maybe. Async function. Let's paste this up. Whoop, what did I do? Need to copy pasta this again. Copy pasta. To refix the formatting here. Okay, so we got this. If the route's query, this .route.query, query.code. So really, instead of pushing this route, we can leave all this kind of the same, but instead of pushing to a new route, what I think we would need to do is just call this next function, this load Square customers, which I'm going to change this to get Square customers. I'm not sure why I've customers. So we'll do get this.get square customers, like so. And we're going to change this to get square token. And then we can change our callback for our authentication flow to this particular URL that we created here. Okay, so this is what we want here, customer import. And let's replace this guy here with that. Save it. Okay. Yeah, see, here's where I'm getting redirected to login. If you can't find something in redirects to login, I probably should fix that. I'm not sure that I like the way that that is set up, but we're going to leave it for now. So now when I click on, now when I go here, just go back here because I'm still logged in technically. If I go to customers, I go to import customers, I get a link square. That should call back here, and it looks like it did what I wanted to because I'm in setting. If you can see here in the URL, I'm settings, integration, square, customer import. It has my code here, but something definitely broke. So reference area Axios not. So I threw Axios directly into our customer import. I don't like that because usually I like to put any call to any kind of external service. I like to put it in its own service file. But I want to finish this, and I've got about 10 minutes left, so we're going to import Axios from Axios, like so. And whoops, wrong thing. Okay, stuff is happening on the back end. That's good. And we have our customers. Cool. So we made some good progress today. Yeah, I think this is good. So now the way that the thing works, like if you're here, if you're in the customers form and you decide you want to import customers, we can click on import customers. You're going to get a list of services here. I'm going to add logos and stuff and make this look a little prettier eventually, but we click on link. It's going to redirect you to Square login, which you don't see there because I already did it, which you witnessed me do it earlier. Get the proper codes and run this guy here. I also want to add something, add some kind of visual display that it shows that it's actually loading something here. But yeah, this is good. This is good. This is heading in the right direction. I think the next time that we do this stream, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to actually create a settings page that starts mapping out some of these settings, because I have a feeling like from this point going forward, I'm making good progress on a lot of the pieces that a lot of the harder functionality, I guess, for getting this thing up and running and into production is getting close to being done. So after that, a lot of this, what we're going to have to do is tweak the setting, tweak the visualization, tweak the kind of the layout of the application. A lot of it's going to be visual. All the real heavy back-end coding integration stuff is getting close to being done. So I guess is what I've been trying to say for the last feels like 15 minutes. But I think with that said, I'm going to go ahead and check out for the evening. I appreciate you joining me. So if you are interested in having more of this kind of content, I'm doing this 3 nights a week pretty much. Well, I got to bring up my new schedule. I had my old schedule memorized and I changed it because it made more sense for things and I forgot what it is. So Sunday and Monday, I'll be doing more streams exactly like this. So my next one for this one particularly is going to be Monday. Wednesday is my development training series where I'm going to just kind of show off a kind of a more polished way to learn things when it comes to development. The course lately is NodeJS APIs. We're condensed. When I had done the previous episode, I guess, if you will, the previous video in the series on this past Monday, I said it was going to be a 4-week. We're condensing that down to 3-week because I realized I can cover, I finished the first 2 topics in like 30 minutes, and I'm like, hey, if I do it for an hour, I can finish it in half the time with the same amount of content. So we're going to do that, and we're going to do it for 3 weeks. So I got another one coming up this week, which if memory serves, we're going to go over testing, middleware, authentication, and data validation, I think was the last one I'm going to go over. So going to be some pretty cool stuff in there. And then tomorrow and then Thursday we're going to play some Destiny, because that's how I like to blow off steam, is just playing video games, and Destiny is still my favorite video game, and a lot of people hate on it. So yeah, that's it. So thanks to everybody for joining me. If you want updates on the stream, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram. I'm at bmorrison, DEV, bmorrisondev. And y'all have a good rest of the week. Bye-bye.